Oh, someone didn't shave. Recording at 5 a.m. Learning by doing. Taking mental snapshots. My name is Canete. You're watching Redraw, and today I'm drawing Robocop.
It just dawned on me that it's not too far away that I could possibly turn this into some weird 1980s, 1990s movie review channel. Because it's the kind of stuff that I like to draw between this and The Predator and whatever else that's in my playlist there. It seems kind of obvious that that's the kind of movies that I like to watch. Anyway, here we go. Before I forget, I want to thank those of you who were kind enough to leave comments in the comments box in the previous video. That really did a lot for me by way of inspiration, and it's very heartwarming to know that there are people out there who have pretty good creative takeaways from the stuff that I've been uploading. So thank you to all of you, and for those that didn't comment, thank you for watching along. I really do appreciate your time. Also, I've gotten a couple private messages behind the scenes asking me what the heck is wrong with I think it's a compliment, but in my head I think it's a criticism. But anyway, somebody has asked me what the heck is wrong with my voice and why I kind of speak in this ASMR tone. I don't know, it's just my voice, but also I'm recording 9 times out of 10 I'm recording these voiceover for my videos sometime at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I try to keep a pretty even tone, pretty even volume without peaking at any given time, because I don't want to wake up the household. So you get the benefit of my not on purpose ASMR voice, but also it's just my voice. Stop it. I've sung the praises of the app called Procreate that I'm using. You can see me using it now on the screen there, but I've sung its praises in the past before, and I promise you that I'm not shilling for them, but it really has been sort of a boon for me to work exclusively digital in the past few months on my iPad. I think it allows me to sort of get comfortable with painting digitally, but also it's pretty dang liberating to understand that not everything has to be 100% perfect right off the bat, which I'm a firm believer in. It's I give more stock to the doing of something than waiting and sort of gestating until I actually do something. I think there's a lot more learning to actually doing stuff as opposed to just thinking about it all the time. It's not to say that there isn't a time and place for sort of contemplating and sort of planning, but really I learn more from the exercise of doing, and Procreate helps enable that, because nothing is ever 100% sort of locked down, in contrast to doing it traditionally on like, let's say, on a piece of paper with pen and ink. Procreate helps to embolden me to try more digital or painting techniques on my own without having to look it up on YouTube or some tutorial online. Like I said, it emboldens me to try stuff on my own, look for different brushes and apply it and see what those effects are for me. So thank you, Procreate. Ever since starting my YouTube channel, I've gotten some amazing feedback from a lot of different people who are looking to support me, and that feedback comes for my overall benefit. But there was one that kind of stood out to me. Excuse me. There was one that kind of stood out to me that was pretty strange. It was, and I don't know if you guys believe in this as well, so please, if you do, leave comments in the comments box below. One of them said, hey, you should turn on a video camera and record yourself as you're doing the voiceover and have that video synced to the image at the bottom part of the time-lapse. And I thought, God, that level of coordination that I would have to get into in order to have it sync up to the image as I'm talking about it, because it's obvious that I'm not talking about this all the way through all in one take. The level of coordination that would take just sounds exhausting, but I don't know if there's a benefit to that in regards to you as the viewer and watcher. So if you think that would bring you some level of enjoyment, you think there's a bonus to having me sit through and watching me struggle talking about my process, I'd like to hear about it. So again, leave that comment in the comments box below. Thanks. This is a relatively short video in comparison to my other ones, so I promise you I'm going to end up talking about process soon. But before I do, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel by hitting that little subscribe button down there and clicking the notification bell so you know when new videos go up. One of the things I always try to land in images like these, or in any image that I do, is to establish a concept of perspective or depth. So for me, that means establishing a foreground element, a middle ground element, and then a background element. So in the case of this Robocop image, I really did do my best, and I think that's what, if you saw the early sketches or the early thumbnails earlier, that's really what allowed me to filter out all the other ones, because as dramatic as they were, they didn't help land that concept of foreground, middle ground, and background. I think that's why with this Robocop image, I opted for this really super dynamic foreshortened angle. The foreground element is represented by the gun and his arm. The middle ground image, I think, if I were to call it out right now, just looking at the drawing, it's going to be his torso and the main part of his body, and maybe parts of the police car, and obviously the background is the implied lights, or the implied buildings via the lights in the background. So there you go, depth. Now you may be wondering, why don't I just go ahead and use reference that I can find online? Everything is so readily available. And to that I say, I don't think that's very fun. To be honest with you, I come from a time of, and this is going to be one of those back in my day stories, which means I'm a very, very old man, but I come from a time of when reference like this wasn't as easily accessible. So what I had a tendency to do was sort of take mental snapshots of everything, of movies that I watched or things that I've seen, and then go ahead and interpret that in the drawings that I do, and that kind of produced some pretty, I thought, creative results. If you contrast it to the actual thing that I was drawing, it may be off by a little, it may be off by a lot, but certainly what it did was develop a muscle in me to sort of have my own take on something, and I think that's part of the fun of doing images like Robocop without using reference, because it yields the sort of design results that you're seeing on screen now. So there you go. My excuse for not using reference. Lame. Establishing a good light source really does help to land volume, form, and shape in regards to figures and other elements that you're drawing. So in the case of this Robocop, I knew where my light source was, typically upper right-hand corner, but later on, I'm going to take a bit of creative liberty by adding a rim light to the left-hand side of the figure, his right, to help separate him away from the car. And that's a creative liberty that I took. It also helps to stand up one of the other things that's really super important to me, which is clarity and legibility. And so that rim light really helps to executing that. Final touches with lens flares and contrast adjustments. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Follow me on all my social media. I'm on Instagram and on Twitter under @EricCanete. And I will see you on the next one. Thanks.